Happy Tuesday, beautiful souls, wherever you. Oh, let's try that again. Mic check, mic check. Happy Tuesday, beautiful souls, wherever you are on this phenomenal planet. It is time for Shift Your Thinking, where we transform our inner experience to a phenomenal outer experience for 13 minutes of our day. We do it together. Truth be told, I think I've been saying that have I been saying that for 5 years? I don't know, but I have been saying it for 308 episodes. Let me make sure I put my phone on vibrate. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see here. All right. Phone on vibrate. I got to respond to a quick message from hubby. My husband's asking me something. Let's see if he gets it. Yes. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I was just having this conversation with my husband earlier this morning, and I said, feels like time is going so fast, speeding up. And of course, he says, honey, time is a human made perception or concept, which is true. So he's so sharp. Can you imagine the conversations we have? Oh boy, hours staying up for hours just talking. So grateful, so grateful. I am in this attitude of gratitude, this space. As I lay last night, I was just saying how grateful I am. I am so grateful. I'm thankful for all the little to big things. I reflect on my life. I do those reflections of, here I am, here I was this time. And it's amazing. It's amazing when you can measure this stuff. Okay, what I want to do before I really jump into this full on throttle show is I want to first sound check, make sure we are good to go. Reason being is because I'll get all into it and get excited. Next thing you know, okay, cool. We're good. By the way, make sure you press 1, lets me know you're here. Press 2, let me know you shared it. I have of course, Shift Your Thinking is supposed to be Mondays at 8:10. Uh got tied up in traffic, but I'm here. I made it. You're here. You made it. If you're catching us on the replay, make sure you drop hashtag replay down below. But again, give me a 1, lets me know you're here. 2, lets me know you shared it. And as a reminder, as a loving reminder, please make sure you subscribe and turn on those notification bells. That way you are alerted of our new episodes once they are uploaded. All right. Before we jump into today's segments, let me just quiet these lower thirds and all that fun stuff. And let's take a couple deep breaths. So we do breathing. Just take a couple deep breaths so we are ready, willing, and able to receive today's message. All right. Will you join me? Join me. I'm so happy. Also, so little things. I'm so happy because when I go back and listen to the show, I'm a little, what's the word? Word, it just won't come to me, but I'm a stickler. I'm a stickler about the sound, especially to those who are tuning in on a radio podcast. So I've tweaked it and I'm going to remember today. So today I'm going to be marking it on my microphone where the volume, where the settings, where the gain is, because I like when it's clear and crisp and it doesn't have like this feedback. Because before I had the gain up really high and you can hear my computer fan and it was really sensitive picking up all the sound. So anyway, that's just my thought. That is what I'm happy for and grateful for. I finished definitions. I'm grateful and happy for that. I'm on my business tax return is done. Woohoo! Before the due date. Yes. Good for me. All right, let's take those deep breaths and we'll just jump into this as we're talking about what are your percentages. Breathe in and out. feel that? Do you feel that? I feel that all in my shoulders just to release. One more time. Join me. Breathe in and out. So happy, so grateful. I'm learning the law of receptivity, receiving, learning to receive. And the last deep breath. Let's go ahead and breathe in and out. Woo. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. All right. We are continuing from Dean Del Sesto, Shift Your Thinking for Success. This says 77 Ways to Win at Work and Life. We are in continuing from segment, let's see. I'm in segment or chapter 21 of this. Again, Dean Del Sesto's Shift Your Thinking for Success. I'm in 21, but this is episode 308 for me. Yes, I have said this. Shift your thinking for 308 days so far, consecutively. One time I was doing it was I doing it every day? I think I did it I did one segment because we were doing Wayne Dyer's. We were doing Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer had 101 ways. Shift your thing was 200 ways. Now we're doing another one. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right. Our performance will always be measured in percentages. So that's why we're calling what's your percentages when you think about it. How much effort are you putting in? You know, we talk about the law, the 90-10 rule, the 80-20 rule, the 50-30-20 rule, just all kinds of little ways to measure something. Let's jump into what Dean has to say about it. He says, a friend of mine told me once that everything in life was reflected by a percentage. He says, I disagreed. And he asked, how sure are you honestly? The more I thought about it, the more I realized I was about 80% sure, he says. It got me thinking that when I was young and thought I knew everything, I was 99.9% naive. How many of you are pretty naive, and at what percentage? I'm not naive. Not anymore. I used to be. Pretty naive. Not anymore. He says, when I started a business, I was about 75% sure I'd succeed. You know what? I haven't even thought about what my percentage of succeeding in my business is. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to succeed. At what percentage? I think because I've been at this longer. I've done a lot of personal professional development. And so again, likely because reading the percentages of how many, first year agents fail, probably knowing, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And then when you think about your businesses, like how many businesses fail or don't make it in the first 5 years. So yeah, it's interesting. All right. Didn't really give it much thought because see, when I jump all in, I'm all in. So for me, I'm at 100%. He says, when a project failed, I generally only put 60% into it. So are you being honest with yourself about how much work are you putting into it? Don't say you're not getting the results if you're not putting in the work, right? My husband reminds me this morning. He's like, we got to get out in the farm. Make sure you bring those marketing materials. I will, honey. I'll bring the boxes. I'll bring the boxes. He says, Dean says, when I got pulled over for speeding, I was about 95% truthful and still got the ticket. Take any verbs such as perform, care, work, feel, try, speak, think, commit, and so on. He says, then consider that we have a way of fooling ourselves into believing we do them at full power 100% of the time. He says, nah, that's not true. He says at times in our careers, we defend the 100% effort position as if our life depend on it. You're like, no, I gave it my all. I gave it my 100% until somebody calls you on it. And then you're like, well, really? No, I didn't. Don't lie to yourself. Unless you like to. Unless that's your world. It's not something I'm into. He says, know this: people, teams, and departments around us aren't fooled by our biased view of our own performance. They've got us pegged at lower percentage. That is pretty accurate, give or take a few percent. So other people know that you're not putting 100%. And you may be like, I'm giving it my all. And people are looking at like, no, you're not. You are not giving it your all. You are not showing up fully. I was just listening to this. So we're football season's back in, right? So I've been like, so I normally listen to talk radio, and I'm like, where is the talk radio? Everyone's talking about football season and the game, and just kind of what the stats lines are and percentages and stuff like that. And it was interesting. They were talking about Saquon. They were talking about his performance, and they were saying about he's not at full potential, right? 25 and this and that. So he may be thinking one thing about his performance, and everybody else is like, nah, man, you're not at 100%. You still have more to put in. So it's very interesting. I think that clearly there was a game, there was a move, there was a call. And so here we are talking about percentages. What are your percentages? He says, but we shouldn't always have to rely on others to measure our potential. He says we should open the responsibility. We should own the responsibility. Drop that in the comments below. Own the responsibility. I own the responsibility to know the level of commitment we are giving to our work by paying closer attention to the percentages. So I was thinking about this too, because I noticed in the last week, I have not been, I know it. I have not been on top of my stuff. Why? Because I sidetracked into the school stuff, right? I've been saying this. I've been measuring my performance in quarters. You heard me say this. We're in the last month of quarter 3. What we put down now, what we plant now, nurture and water, cultivate, feeds us, right? Brings the harvest. Not all those seeds are going to bud up into something amazing this next quarter. It might take a little bit more time to cultivate those relationships, to nurture, pour into. I'm just about finishing reading The Go-Giver, so I'm in the section where it talks about law of receptivity. And so it's interesting that he talks about the author of another book, because I read like 5 books. Just so my dentist, shout out to Dr. Igwe, my dentist says every time I see you, you're reading a book. Like, how do you do it? I'm like, just as much people watch various TV shows, movies, and series. You click the channel, right? You click in it, click, 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 click. That's what I do with books. So I walk and travel with at least 3 books at a time, because it depends on my mood. I may feel like, I want to read this, I might want to read that. So anyway, I'm sharing with you about The Go-Giver. And this has been my beach reading, along with Matthew McConaughey's biography, Green Lights, getting some good nuggets out of that. And so though that's my reading when I'm on the beach. And so The Go-Giver, he says about law of receptivity. And I took pause this past weekend and realized I'm still learning how to be a good receiver. I'm a great giver, giving. And he talks about this great example of when something simple as someone giving you a pen, right? And then, no, I don't need it. No. Are you that person, right? No, it's okay. Are you sure? No. And he says, all it takes is very simple. Thank you. Receive it and say thank you. And so I've been in my mind recognizing that if and when I'm feeling depleted and not refueled, it's not of not being not receiving, not being, I'm received tons of blessings. I know this, but it's I'm not being a better recipient of my blessings. I went on a whole another tangent right now as we're talking about this full potential, but I'm tying it in here. I'm tying it in here because we're talking about being truthful with our percentages. All right, let's continue. He says the truth of our work performance should never scare us. What should scare us, he says, and send fear into the marrow of our bones is ignoring the truth about how we are really doing at work, and life as a parent, if you're a parent, in your relationships, partnerships, marriages, being better. What percentage am I putting into that relationship? He says a life in which we are honest with ourselves, such as I got fired at my job because I gave about 50% to it, or I didn't get the raise because I've been cruising at 75%. That's how I know I got on a tangent, because I was talking about school and other stuff, and not really uh, pumping it in back at work. But I'm back now. I'm back now. I feel it, right? I've got that energy. I'm in here. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. And let me say this, inspired by a couple things. I was watching, I've been watching these docu-films about athletes. Used to be an athlete, and this is me just kind of coaxing myself to get back on the track. But I have sciatic pain, and I had an ankle injury now in both ankles, and so it's really funky right now for me to get back on the track and run and jog and walk and that stuff. And of course, but what's more important to me is getting my body to move, because that energy is creative energy. It's motion, right? It's magnetizing to the universe what I'm co-creating for myself, the life that I'm desiring for myself. So all that's interconnected. So I've been finding just this awesome inspiration, and not not many things I'm moved by, probably because I'm practical about the world and reality. Although I'm a dreamer, very optimistic. I say that I'm very selective of what I put in my mind and what I'm moved by when I watch. And so it's just really interesting to watch these stories, like the Coney Island kid, and just now I watched Neymar, soccer player, and before that I forget what else I was watching. But again, percentages, right? Because as an athlete, we are measured by percentages and how much work you put in and the results. Same here. Like last night, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm back to wanting to be my best, absolute best. And I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. And I'm excited about it. So this is why I started. I was like, I'm excited. I'm so excited. It's because I'm back on my ish. Yes. All right, let's continue and wrap it up. He says, um, the I'm always at 100% myth assumes perfection and leaves no room for us to contemplate how we can improve, mature, be more valuable to those around us, and have a greater sense of fulfillment. It's an illusion, he says, that ignores the progressive growth we can be at ease with as imperfect humans, growing, learning, and acknowledging our progress. As you just heard me have my moment of acknowledgement and reflection of my progress, my potential, and my personal professional goals. All right, CTA today, right? So call to action for today, for every day this week, leading us back to next week when we come back for another episode on Shift Your Thinking next Monday at 8:10 Pacific time. Our call to action today is improve a few percent to experience the most today. And your today can be tomorrow, the day after, and let's just keep doing it. Let's just keep improving. With that, I say I love you, love you, love you. Have a powerful, productive day and week. We'll see you next week on another wonderful Shift Your Thinking episode. All right. Take care, you guys. Bye.